Hello students, in today's class let us continue with the miscellaneous exercise. As I told you earlier, I'm going to brief you the clues how to solve the problems because we have done all the concepts in the chapter straight lines and we have done all the exercises also. So by this time you should know how to solve the problems. This contains the miscellaneous problems of all the topics. So again I'm going to give you the clues to solve the problem and you are going to do it. Now let us start with question number 16. The question is find the direction in which a straight line must be drawn. Find the direction in which the straight line must be drawn passing through the point -1, 2 so that its point of intersection with the line x plus y equals to 4 meets it at a distance of 3 units. Right? Don't get panic on looking at the question. Right? Understand the concept. It's quite easy. I repeat the question. Find the direction. We need to find the direction of the straight line which must drawn through the point -1, 2. The straight line is drawn through the point -1, 2 so that its point of intersection with another line may be at a distance of 3 units from the point. This is what given in the question. We need to find the direction. The direction can be given based on its slope. So our ultimate aim is to find the slope of this line. Right? If we find the slope of this line, we can tell the direction. So how can we find the slope? They have given you the distance between this point to the point of intersection may be 3 units. So if we know the point of intersection, we can find the distance between this point and the point of intersection and we can equate it to 3, right? But we don't know this point. What is this point? This point is the point of intersection of these two lines. How can we find the point of intersection? Only if we solve these two equations, we will get a point of intersection. To solve these two equations, we need the equation of this line first. So how will you write the equation of this line? We know only one point here. We don't know m, slope. So that is what our aim. To find slope is our aim. So anyhow we will get in terms of m only, right? So using this point and taking slope as m, we can write the equation of this line using slope 1 point form. What is slope 1 point form? Y minus y1 is equal to m into x minus x1. Now x1, y1 is -1, 2. Alright. So we will get an equation in terms of m. Now we got the equation of this line and equation of this line is also known already. Now if we solve these two equations, we can find the point of intersection. Obviously the point of intersection will be in terms of what? M only. Let us name this as B and this as A. Right? We can find the point of intersection. Obviously it will be in terms of m only. Now the distance AB is equal to 3. We know distance formula. What is distance formula? Square root of x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square. Right? That is the distance. So which is equal to 3 units. Now we got the 2 points. We can substitute in distance formula and equate it to 0. We can find what is our m. After finding m, how can we give our conclusion? In this problem, we will get m as 0. To which line slope is 0? X-axis. Therefore, it is parallel to x-axis. Right? The line is parallel to x-axis. I repeat, they asked you to find the direction of the line which passes through the point and the point of intersection of the line with another line may be at a distance of 3 units from this point. They have given you the distance between these 2 points. So if we know this point, we can apply distance formula. So to find this point, we need the equation of this line. So write the equation of this line using slope 1 point form, taking slope as m. Right? And then solve these two equations. We will get the point of intersection in terms of m. Then apply distance formula which equated to 3. We can find what is our m. Based on the value of m, we can give the direction. We can give our conclusion. Right? Hope you understood. Let us move on to the next question. 17th one. Let me read out the question. 17th question is The hypotenuse of a right-angled triangle has its ends at the points. The hypotenuse of a right-angled triangle has its end points at 1, 3 and minus 4, 1. Find the equation of the legs, perpendicular sides of the triangle, which is called as legs. These two are called as legs. They asked you to find the equation of these two sides. Right? It is given the hypotenuse has end points. They asked you to find the equation of these two lines. How we can find the equation of these two lines? There can be infinitely many lines passing through a point. Right? So there can be many lines satisfying this condition. Now we are going to give our conclusion based on some assumption. So first let us to find the equation of a line AC, we know one point on it. If we know the slope, we can give the equation of AC. Similarly, we know a point on BC. If we know the slope, we can give the equation. But what is the relation between AC and BC? These two are perpendicular. So that main condition should be satisfied. Right? Those two lines should be perpendicular. What is the condition for two lines to be perpendicular? Their slopes should be, the product of their slope should be equal to 1, or else we can tell one is the negative reciprocal of the other. Right? So what are we going to do here is we are going to assume the slope of AC as m. Right? The slope of AC as m. Therefore, slope of BC is going to be minus 1 by m. Right? Minus 1 by m. So taking the slope of AC as m, we can give the equation passing through the point 1, 3 using slope point form, y minus y1 equal to m into x minus x1. Similarly, the equation of BC passing through the point minus 4, 1 and its slope is going to be minus 1 by m because these two lines are perpendicular. Right? As I told you, there can be infinitely many such lines assuming the value of m. Based on the value of m, there can be infinitely many lines satisfying this condition. If m takes one value, accordingly 1 by m will take another value. Therefore, the two lines will become parallel. Right? So here we are going to give two conclusions. If m is equal to 0, what will happen? If m is infinity. If m is equal to 0, what will happen here? This entire term will become 0. So this is y minus 3 equal to 0. Here m equal to 0. So if we bring the 0 to the other side, 0 into this, everything will become 0. So we will get minus 1 into x plus 4 equal to 0, which is nothing but x plus 4 equal to 0. Hope you understood. I am putting denominator 0. So if we bring that 0 to the other side, this term will become 0. So we will get x plus 4 equal to 0. Since it is equal to 0, this negative sign will get vanished. Even if we bring it to the other side, it doesn't have any value. If m is infinity, it is not infinity, it is undefined. Okay. What is meant by undefined? Undefined means the denominator is 0. The denominator is 0. So here m is 1 by 0. Which means 0 is brought to the other side. So this term will become 0. So x minus 1 equal to 0. Right? Here m is undefined. Which means the denominator of m is 0. Right? So if I bring m to the other side, what will happen in this case? See, y minus 1 is equal to minus 1 by m into x plus 4. This can also be written as m into y minus 1 equal to minus 1 into x plus 4. Now m is undefined, which means it has denominator 0. If m is undefined, m has the denominator 0. So if I bring this 0 to the other side, this entire term will become 0. So we will left with y minus 1 equal to 0. Hope you understood. We have given the special cases for m here because we can have infinitely such lines satisfying the given condition. Hope you understood. The question is, they have given you the ends of the hypotenuse. They asked you to find the legs of the triangle, and we know this line is perpendicular to this. Assuming the slope as m, this will become minus 1 by m. Therefore, write the equation. Right? Hope you understood. Let us move on to the next question now. Let us move on to 18th question. The question is to find the image of the point 3, 8 with respect to the line x plus 3y equal to 7, assuming the line to be a plane mirror. Assuming this as a plane mirror, we need to find the image of this point here. Right? So if A is 3, 8, we have to find B. We are assuming the coordinates of B as A, B. And since it's a plane mirror, it is quite obvious that this line x plus 3y equal to 7 is going to be the perpendicular bisector of AB. Since it is a plane mirror, it is going to be the perpendicular bisector of AB. Yes or no? Plane mirror will be the perpendicular bisector. Then only we will get the image there. Right? Now, what are we going to do here is we are going to find the coordinates of B. How to find the coordinates of B? First, we are going to find the slope of AB using 2 points. Okay, and it is also perpendicular. See, we have two unknowns here and hence we need two equations to solve for two unknowns. How can we obtain those two? When we talk about perpendicularity, we will take slope as one criteria. The other one is it is a perpendicular bisector. Bisector means it divides into two equal halves. So we can take the midpoint. So using slope, we will get one equation. Using the midpoint, we will get another equation. So if we solve these two equations, we can find the values of A and B. That's it. That's what we need to do. How to find the slope here? Using 2 points, we can find the slope. But this will be equal to what? Negative reciprocal of the slope of this line. Because we know these two lines are perpendicular. What is the slope of this equation? If we know the equation, how you will find the slope? Minus coefficient of x divided by coefficient of y. So it is going to be minus 1 by 3. Right? Therefore, what will be the slope of this line? Negative reciprocal of this. Yes or no? So find the slope of this using 2 points and equate it to the slope which you are going to obtain using this line. So out of this we will get our first equation in terms of A and B. Right? Then since it is a bisector, we know it is a midpoint. So we can get a point here. Find the midpoint of A and B. We will get another equation in terms of A and B. Now we got two equations in terms of A and B. Solve those two equations. We can obtain the values of A and B. Right? When it comes to perpendicular bisector, it is the only way. We will go with slope. Other one is we will go with the midpoint. Since we have two unknowns here, we need two equations to solve it. Obtain the two equations, solve and get the values of A and B. Hope you got it. Let us move on to the next question. We are in 19th question now. What they asked you to find out in the 19th question. If the lines y is equal to 3x plus 1 and 2y equal to x plus 3 are equally inclined to the line y equals to mx plus 4, find the value of m. We have a new word here, equally inclined. I am sorry, it is not indicated. It's equally inclined. So it is given the lines are equally inclined to the line. Equally inclined means what? The angle between y is equal to 3x plus 1 and y is equal to mx plus 4 is equal to angle between the other line and the common line. Hope you got it. They have given you three lines in which the two lines are equally inclined with the third line. So which means angle between first line and the third line is same as angle between second line and the third line. Right? So using this, they asked you to find the value of m. What is the formula to find the angle between two lines? Tan theta is equals to modulus of m2 minus m1 divided by 1 plus m1 m2. Taking the slope of this line as m1 and taking the slope of this line as m2, and already the slope of this line is m. So only if we know the slopes of the lines, we can go with the angle formula. So first find the slope. How you will find the slope? Minus coefficient of x divided by coefficient of y. And I wish to insist this point here. When we are saying if we know the equation, we can give the slope as minus coefficient of x divided by coefficient of y. Don't blindly go with in the form whatever which is given in the question. The minus coefficient of x divided by coefficient of y is applicable only when the equation is of the form ax plus by plus c equal to 0. So first you should rewrite the given question in the form of y is equal ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. Then you have to apply minus coefficient of x divided by coefficient of y formula. And directly you should not apply in whatever way it appear. Right? I wish to insist this here. Or else here you can take this as in the form of slope 1 point form, slope intercept form. Y is equal to mx plus c. Therefore, your slope is going to be 3. In that way also you can take. So, understand the question, understand the format of the equation and then find your slope. Right? So, this is tan theta formula. Since they have given the angle inclined is equal, this modulus of m2, this is also going to be tan theta, this is also going to be tan theta. So, modulus of this going to be equal to modulus of this. So, by equating, anyhow you will be having only one unknown, which is m. By simplification, you can arrive at the answer for m. But whenever you have modulus, you will be having two values. What will happen if it is going to be plus? What will happen if it is going to be minus? Accordingly, you have to find the value of m. Right? Hope you understood. Let us move on to the next question. We are in 20th question now. The question is 20th question. Sum of perpendicular distance of a variable point from the lines is always 10. We have to prove that the point P must move on a line. It is given the sum of the perpendicular distance of a variable point P from the lines. So, the distance between P and this line and P and this line, if we add, it will be equal to 10. We need to prove that P must move on a line. It is moving on a line. Right? How can we prove this? We know what is a formula for the perpendicular distance from a point to a line ax plus by plus c equal to 0. What it is? D is equal to modulus of ax1 plus by1 plus c divided by square root of a square plus b square. Right? Now let us take the distance between the point and the first line as d1 and the distance between the point and the second line as d2. It is given d1 plus d2 is equal to 10. So substituting in this formula, we will end up with the equation in the form of ax plus by plus c equal to 0. Why? Because this is a variable point. It is in terms of x and y only. So we will end up with the equation of the equation in the form of ax plus by plus c, which means x into some coefficient plus y into some coefficient plus some constant term which is independent of x and y. So as far as this problem is concerned, you won't get a whole number as your answer. So don't expect any whole number as a coefficient, any whole number or integer as the coefficient of x and y. You may get irrational numbers as well. So, but anyhow it will be in the form of ax plus by plus c and hence P moves on a line. Right? Again here when we talk about d1 and d2, both are inside modulus. Right? So assuming first positive, you can arrive at your answer, and similarly by taking negative you can give your conclusion. Yes, it's a very easy problem, only the calculations may be little complicated. You can proceed easily, right? The question is very clear. The distance between the point and the lines, the sum of the distance between the points and the lines is equal to 10, which means d1 plus d2 is equal to 10. Right? Hope you understood. Let us move on to our 21st question. 21st question is more or less similar to question number 20. Here it is given, find the equation of the line which is equidistant from the parallel lines. They asked you to find the equation of the line which is equidistant from parallel lines. What is meant by equidistant? Equidistance means it has equal distance. So they asked you to find the equation of the line which is equal distance from those two parallel lines, right? So how can we find? Here they have given you a point and they asked you to prove that it moves on a line. So see, these are the simple ways where they can twist the question and they ask, but the methodology is same to solve it. Only a small variation in the way they are asking the question, but the method to proceed the problem is exactly same. So you should know how the questions can be asked, right? So the same way here, what are we going to do is we are going to assume an arbitrary point in our equation. Okay, if the equation is, if the line is equidistant from these two lines, the point will also be equidistant because the line itself is equidistant. So every point on the line will also be equidistant, right? So we can find the perpendicular distance from the point P to this line, similarly from the point P to this line. And hence we can take this as d1 and this as d2 and both are equal. If we equate as in the same way as in the previous problem, we will end up with the equation in terms of x and y, since we have taken the point as x and y, and which is the required equation of the line, right? If you take the point as some other constant like h comma k or a comma b, you will end up with the equation in a comma b because the point is lying on the line. So in the place of a and b, you have to substitute x and y. So you will get the equation of the line. Hope you got it. Yes, here it is given a line is equidistant from the parallel lines. If a line is equidistant, every point on the line is also equidistant. So we are going to choose an arbitrary point on the line and we are going to find the perpendicular distance between the point and the line, and we are going to equate because it is equidistant, and we will end up with the equation of the line. Hope you understood. So let us move on to the next question now. Question number 22. A ray of light passing through the point. A ray of light passing through the point 1, 2 reflects on the x-axis at a point A, and the reflected ray passing through the point 5, 3. Find the coordinates of A. I repeat, a ray of light passing through the point 1, 2 reflects on x-axis, and the reflected ray passing through the point 5, 3, and they asked you to find the coordinates of A. And we know the angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. Angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. That's why we have assumed these two angles are equal after drawing a perpendicular line, right? The angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. So we have drawn a perpendicular line here. Therefore, this angle will be equal to this. We have taken this as 5. Therefore, this will also be 5. And we have taken this angle as theta. Now, how to find the coordinates of this point here? What is the logic behind it? How can we find the coordinates? Here, what are we going to do is we are going to find the coordinates of A using slope. Slope of AB, and we are going to find the slope of AC. So before getting into the slope, we are going to find the relation between theta and phi, right? We need the angle here. So what are we going to do here is we are going to find what is this angle OAB. What is OAB? How can we write OAB? This full angle is an angle on a straight line. So this can be written as 180 minus phi plus theta, right? 180 minus phi plus theta, or 2 phi plus theta, right? But what is phi? We know this is perpendicular. We have drawn a perpendicular line, right? Therefore, this full angle is 90 degree. This full angle is 90 degree. So, phi can be written as 90 minus theta. Yes, so phi can be written as 90 minus theta. Now multiply this. 2 into 90 is 180 minus 2 theta. Expand all the brackets. 180 will get cancelled. 2 theta minus theta is theta. So we got angle OAB as theta. So OAB is also theta, and angle CAX is also theta, right? To find the slope, we need the angle made by the line with the positive direction of the x-axis. Alright. So for AC the angle is theta. For AB we need this full angle. Right. We need this full angle. Now how to find this full angle? Now we got what is angle OBA. What is angle OAB? I'm sorry. OAB is theta. So if angle OAB is theta, this full angle can be written as 180 minus theta. Hope you got it. To find the slope, we need the angle made by the line with the positive direction of x-axis. To find the slope of AC, we got this angle as theta. To find the slope of AB, we need this full angle. So just now we found the angle this OAB. So this angle can be written as 180 minus theta. Right. So angle BAX is 180 minus theta. Now what is slope of AC? Slope of these two lines can be found in two ways. One is using 2-point form. We know one point on the line and the other point is a comma 0. Why we have assumed it as a comma 0? Because it lies on x-axis, so y coordinate will be 0. So using 2 points we can find the slope of AB. Similarly, using these 2 points we can find the slope of AC. On the other hand, it can also be found using tan formula. So slope of AC is tan theta because the angle made by AC with the positive x-axis is theta. So it is tan theta. Right. So tan theta is equals to 3 minus 0 divided by 5 minus a, because the 2 points are 5 comma 3 and a comma 0. Similarly here slope of AB, the 2 points are 1 comma 2 and a comma 0. Here the angle is 180 minus theta. What is tan 180 minus theta? It is going to be minus tan theta. So 2 divided by 1 minus a. So if we bring this minus to the other side, we got minus 2 divided by 1 minus a, or 2 divided by a minus 1. So we got tan theta is equal to 3 divided by 5 minus a. Similarly, tan theta is equals to 2 divided by a minus 1. So we can equate these two and we can obtain the value of a. And hence the coordinates of A is 13 by 5 comma 0. So I repeat what we did here. It is given a light reflected passing through a point 1 comma 2 and it is reflected at A on x-axis, and the reflected ray passes through the point 5 comma 3. We know the angle of reflection is same as angle of incidence, so we have taken these two as equal angles. Now our aim here is finding the slope of these two lines. Right, we will get in terms of A and then we can solve for A. So first we have to find the relation between the angles. Why? Because we are going to find the slope in two ways. So we need the angle made by the line with the x-axis. This we have taken it as theta. This also we are going to obtain in terms of theta. After that we found the slope in two ways. One is using 2 points and the other one is using the angle, and then we equated to obtain the value of A. Yes, hope you got it. Let us move on to the next question now. Now we are in 23rd question. Prove that the product of the length of the perpendiculars drawn from the points to the line is b square. They have given you the line and 2 points. They asked you to prove the product of the perpendicular distance from the point to the line is equal to b square. If we take P1 as the perpendicular distance from the point to the line, this point to the line, and P2 as the perpendicular distance from this point to the line, then P1 into P2 is equal to b square. That's what we need to prove. So it's very easy because we know the formula for the perpendicular distance and the equation points, everything is given. But only thing here it lies is the calculation part, because it involves trigonometric ratios and some points are also in square root. That's it. Only calculation part is somewhat peculiar, but otherwise the procedure is easy. So first we need to find the length of the perpendicular from this point to the equation. So before that, rewrite the equation of the line in the form of ax plus by plus c equal to 0. So if we take LCM, bx cos theta plus ay sin theta is equals to ab. So bring this ab to the other side. It will become minus ab equal to 0. Now what is length of the perpendicular formula? Modulus of ax1 plus by1 plus c divided by square root of a square plus b square. This is our x1, y1, and what is our a? A is going to be b cos theta is going to be our a, and b is a sin theta is going to be our b, and minus ab is the value for our c. Now substitute in P1 modulus of b cos theta into square root of a square minus b square plus a sin theta into 0 minus ab. Anyhow, this term will become 0. So we got modulus of b cos theta into square root of a square minus b square minus ab divided by square root of a square plus b square. We cannot resolve this further, so keep it aside. Similarly, if we substitute for P2, what will happen? Only the point varies. It is minus square root of a square minus b square comma 0. So if we put, what will happen? Since it is inside modulus, we can take this minus as common. So b cos theta square root of a square minus b square, this minus will become plus since we have taken minus as common. And anyhow, it is inside modulus, so we can omit that minus. So we got what is P1 and P2. Now we have to find the product of P1 and P2, right? So multiply these two. Again, both are inside modulus, and this is of the form a minus b into a plus b, which is a square minus b square. So do the calculation part carefully and multiply each and every term, and we can take b square at this step as common. So we got a square cos square theta minus b square cos square theta minus a square. At this step, we are going to do some gimmicks. What is it? We are going to add sin square theta plus cos square theta here, because we know this is equal to 1. So we are multiplying sin square theta plus cos square theta into a square. It is like a square into 1. Why we have to do this? Because denominator we have b square cos square theta plus a square sin square theta, and we have to end up with the answer b square. So we need to get the numerator and the denominator should get cancelled, right? So we are going to multiply a square into 1. 1 is sin square theta plus cos square theta. So if we do this and if we expand the brackets, so these two things will get cancelled. Again, you can take minus as common. Since it is inside modulus, we can omit that minus. So numerator and denominator will get cancelled. So P1 into P2 is equals to b square. Hence we proved. As I told you, the method is easy, but only the calculation part you have to do it carefully. Hope you got it. Let us move on to the last question in the miscellaneous exercise. Question number 24. The question is, a person standing at the junction of two straight lines represented by the equation 2x minus 3y plus 4 equal to 0 and 3x plus 4y minus 5 equal to 0. He wants to reach the path whose equation is 6x minus 7y plus 8 equal to 0 in the least time. Find the equation, the path he should follow. I repeat, a person is standing at the junction of two straight lines. He need to reach this line in the least time. We know which is the least distance, perpendicular height, which is the least distance, right? So if he travel in the perpendicular path, he can reach the line in a least time. So we need to find the equation of this perpendicular. How we can find? To find the equation, we need a slope and 1 point, right? So since this is perpendicular, we can find the slope of this. Put negative reciprocated, you can get the slope of this. And if we find the point of intersection of these two lines, we will get the point. So we got a point and a slope. So we can go with slope 1 point form, right? Hope you got it. It's quite easy, but it's an application oriented question. So find the point of intersection of these two lines. Find the slope of this. Negative reciprocated, you will get slope 1 point. Go with slope 1 point form. Yes. So with this, let us wind up today's class, and hence we are winding up the chapter straight lines. And I want you to do question number 16 to 24 as homework without fail. Even I have explained, I want you to work out each and every problem. Then only you can understand where you are committing mistake. So do this homework and post it in the group, and if you have any doubts you can ask me. Thank you, students.